So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm actually part Puerto Rican, which is fair. You know, they see me, they probably think generic white boy with like 90 to 100% European background, but I am 1/4 Puerto Rican, and I actually speak Spanish sometimes with my family members. Well, I don't really speak it, I more like comprehend it, so if my mom were to say something to me in Spanish, I just kind of get what she's saying. You know, she'll like approach me, she'll be like, ¿qué haces, mijo? So yeah, I'm not even fully fluent, to be honest. I just pick up fragments of conversations when I hear them in public, and I can kind of respond to the general phrases that my mom uses when trying to communicate with me. But today I learned that doing so makes me transphobic, because speaking the Spanish language is apparently transphobic. I am not making this up. So this news publication called the San Francisco Chronicle just released this op-ed about how Spanish speakers need to adopt this new form of their language that includes gender-neutral language. Now, I wanted to read this article just so we could discuss its stupidity, but they paywalled it. You have to subscribe to their publication to read it, so I'm not gonna do that. And even if I did, I don't think I'd be allowed to read it on YouTube for copyright reasons. So the next best thing would be to read an article complaining about that article, which is what I've got here. So it says, "Do you speak Spanish? You are now transphobic." Now, I want to just say that before reading this, I saw an article like this coming a mile away. There's been this push going for around 2 years now by these activist losers to try to make the Spanish language more quote-unquote gender neutral by pressuring native speakers to modify their dialects by including words such as Latinx and Latine in place of course, Latino and Latina. So considering that there's already been this push, it was only a matter of time until somebody said, yeah, we're just gonna call the people that haven't made the switch to include words like Latinx, we're just gonna call them transphobic. Anyways, before we get into this article, if you could take the 5 seconds that it would take to leave a like on this video and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Let's go for 5,000 likes on this video, and subscribe because I will be doing my face reveal at 400k subscribers. Let's get into it. The absurdity of gender ideology leads to incredible claims from pockets of establishment media. Now, according to one left-wing professor, the entire Spanish-speaking world is to be condemned as transphobic. Writing for the San Francisco Chronicle, Sebastian Ferrarda declared that the refusal by Latinos to use the activist creations Latinx or Latine in order to degender the word is transphobic. Okay, so starting thoughts, I want to say that it's actually quite ironic that this guy is writing for the San Francisco Chronicle about something that he thinks is a big issue. Meanwhile, the actual city of San Francisco is like terrible. There's rampant homelessness, people are on drugs like you've never seen before, there's theft, stealing, it's not good to live there right now. That city needs major reform and some actual good governing, and these problems need to be solved like ASAP. But you have these clowns like Sebastian Ferrarda that are too busy concerned with the potential transphobia of speaking the Spanish language. It's like, dude, get a grip, there are real problems in this world. Second, I don't understand how not wanting to degender the Spanish language is transphobic, because right, the Spanish language has always been gendered, and the whole thing with transphobia is that it's supposed to be the fear or hatred, I think, of transgender people. Transgender people are people that just want to switch from male to female or female to male. They're not switching from male to nothing or female to nothing, so they don't want to be degendered, they're just switching. So wouldn't it make more sense, instead of just like switching the entire language to be gender neutral, that instead if somebody wants to be referred to as Latino instead of Latina, that you can just use that form of the language? Like, it just makes so much more sense to me. But even if every single transgender person agreed in unanimity that, yeah, you know, the language isn't good enough right now, it's too gendered, we want to degender the language, you know, instead of working within the language that already exists and has existed for hundreds of years, we want to tear the entire thing down because we want to build a new version of the language that's less offensive to us. Like, you know what I would say to that? I would say, kick rocks, buddy. Like, do us all a favor and pipe down. We don't want to hear what you have to say. Like, no one's doing that. That's an unreasonable request and demand, and everybody would agree. The linguistic debate on Latinx then serves as a useful example to understand the transphobia prevalent in our community, he writes. He concludes, the insistence on rejecting the use of Latinx is a transphobic act. Bro, shut up, okay? Go take a hike, buddy. You made an unreasonable request and people rejected your unreasonable request, you asked, hey, can we modify this entire language, please? Can you speak differently than you do every single day of your life because 3 people are offended by it? Like, no, I'm not gonna do that, and no non-Americanized Latino is gonna do that, okay? They call me gringo, but at least I'm not using Latinx. But yeah, you made an insane request, and now you're coping because people aren't going to meet that request. How about you put up 50 grand for me to switch my vocabulary, and then we'll talk? This means that essentially the entire Spanish-speaking world is transphobic. Multiple polls have shown in the US where you would expect such activist-created terms would gain the most footing. Just 2% of Hispanics identify as Latinx. In fact, 40% of them find the term offensive, which shouldn't be a surprise given that it's been pushed on them by white liberals, along with demands that they change the entire structure of the Spanish language. This is obviously true, but I would like to see the polling data they got, where 2% of respondents say they identify as Latinx. Like, I don't even, like, that's not 2% of the Spanish-speaking world, bro. That's like 0.001. And the people that are using it and may have responded like, oh yeah, I identify as Latinx, it's like not even that they believe in it, it's just a virtue signal. Ferrarda joins in making those demands. What is most striking about these debates, he argues, is that they rarely, if ever, center the voices and experience of the transgender, non-binary, and gender-fluid Latini people who do not identify with the term. Well, yeah, obviously, because we already know what they want according to you. They want to change the Spanish language to be more gender-neutral. Dude, I know exactly what they want, when they want it, why they want it. Like, I don't need to listen to them in a debate in order to understand their position. I understand their position. And after I comprehended their position, I subsequently moved it to the part of my brain where I store all the other retarded ideas that have been pushed forward by activists. Also, gender fluid and non-binary voices, dude, get a grip. Do me a favor, okay? Find me 10 Latinos over the age of 30 that identify as gender fluid, and after you've wasted 5 years of your life doing that, you're gonna come back to me and I'm gonna tell you to find 10 more Latinos that are over the age of 30 that identify as non-binary. Do they not understand that this whole pronoun gender ideology stuff is very American? This phenomenon where people think there's 70 genders, including gender fluidity and gender non-binaryism. People in most other countries do not recognize this, and in the countries that do, they kind of laugh at it. Now, you should be nice to everybody, you should treat others the way you want to be treated, treat people with respect, but I feel like the group of people that is native Spanish speakers isn't feeling very respected when you ask them to modify their entire language. Then the article writes, and don't cancel me, this is what the article is saying, of course these debates do not center the voices and experiences of transgender, non-binary, and gender-fluid people because those people make up a negligible minority of humans. Also because, quote, non-binary and, quote, gender-fluid are 2 completely fabricated categories embraced only by people who want attention and validation as part of the transgender community. In contrast, there are an estimated 448 million native Spanish speakers on this planet. In what sense is it inclusive to exclude nearly all of them from polite society and label them as bigots because they don't want to adopt your weird artificial version of what you think their language should be changed to? And don't forget, if they do this to Spanish, they'll also have to do it to French. Yo, I'm sorry, whoever wrote this article is cooking right now. Yeah, why haven't we seen this happen to Italian or French? You know, it's a great point that's being made. And that's not me saying, oh, we haven't done this for Italian, let's get it started. Or that's definitely not me saying, oh, we haven't done this for French yet, let's get it started. No, I'm not. Please do not get it started. I'm just saying that this weird push has started with the Spanish language, and, you know, I don't think it's gonna get that far because it's just an unrealistic thing to actually come into fruition. But it's definitely bizarre that this started with Spanish. Like, why? Why didn't it start with Italian or French? Did I miss something? Did they try it and it just, like, didn't work? Like, you know, did they try it in Italian and instantly they were like, bro, shut up, like, we're not doing that? Or what was the deal there? I really don't know. I don't think the Italians have more or less activists than the Latinos or the French. I don't know. But either way, thank God we're not hearing terms like Italian X or French X. You know, Latinx isn't good, but I'm just glad it's not there yet. They would have to do it for French, Italian, Portuguese, German, Arabic, which even genders its verbs, and dozens of other languages worldwide. This is arguably the single most exclusionary argument anybody could ever make. Excluding perhaps 70% of humanity just for language they speak, it's, well, Latino-phobic. People like Ferrarda will try to make this a debate, and establishment media will be happy to facilitate their efforts, but it isn't a debate. It is just Ferrarda shouting into a void where no one is listening. So yeah, again, the article is spitting, and this feels interesting because I do have a dog in this race, case, Spanish is my second language. I want my kid to learn Spanish at some point. At some point in my own life, I'd like to become fully fluent in the language, so seeing this sort of insanity does bother me. You know, maybe it shouldn't, but at the same time, like, it kind of just does. It doesn't really bother me that it's an insane request, and it doesn't really even bother me that some people are buying into it. What bothers me most is that the activists and the people that are buying into it really think that what they're doing is virtuous. You know, it's so funny because I'm recording this video right after all of this Mr. Beast drama where he's getting, you know, hot water because he gave away 20,000 pairs of shoes to African children. He did something objectively good and objectively virtuous, and people were questioning, well, why did he did it? Like, what are his motives? But we also have people that are doing this stuff and think this is objectively virtuous. Like, dude, what? It feels so backwards too, and I'm not saying everybody has to be Mr. Beast in order to be virtuous, but trying to change the entire Spanish language does not make you a good guy. Like, you're not that guy, pal. Like, you want to do some good in the world, Ferarda? How about you start by cleaning up your city, bro? We can get to the gender-neutral Spanish stuff in a minute, but how about you clean up your streets and get homeless people off your streets first, bro? Okay, no, but with that all being said, I hope you guys ended up enjoying this video. If you have, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and comment down rain if you made it to the end of the video. Follow my social medias and join the Discord server. Links are all in the description below, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.